Hello sir, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Fahad Muntasir Tonmoy and my project is the Venona project. So what was the Venona project? The Venona project was an United States counterintelligence operation that spanned from February 1, 1943 to October 1, 1980 and was begun by the United States Army Signal Intelligence Service during World War II. It was designed to decode messages sent by the Soviet Union's intelligence services. The program persisted during the Cold War, when it was regarded as adversary. Approximately 3,000 communications were encrypted and translated by the Signal Intelligence Service during the course of the Venona project's 37-year lifespan. The signals intelligence yielded the discovery of the Cambridge 5 espionage network in the United Kingdom as well as Soviet espionage of the Manhattan Project in the United States. Some of the spying was carried out to aid the Soviet atomic bomb effort. The Venona project remained a closely guarded secret for more than 15 years after it was completed. The United States did not declassify and publish some of the deciphered Soviet signals until 1995. The history of Venona project. The Venona project was a source of information about Soviet intelligence collection geared towards Western military powers during World War II and the early years of the Cold War. Although these initiatives were unknown to the general public and even to Presidents Franklin D. Roosevelt and Harry S. Truman, they were vital in the early Cold War. This included the Julius and Ethel Rosenberg spying case as well as the Soviet Union's defections of Donald Maclean and Guy Burgess. The majority of decipherable signals were sent and intercepted between 1942 and 1945, when the Soviet Union was an US ally. The existence of Venona program was reported to the Soviet Union by cryptologist analyst Bill Weinsband and an NKVD operative in the US Army's Chigint sometime in 1945. Beginning in 1946, these transmissions were slowly and steadily deciphered. This work lasted until 1980 when the Venona program was cancelled. The analytical work given to it was reallocated to other essential initiatives. The extent to which the different persons mentioned in the communications were associated with Soviet intelligence is a matter of historical debate. While many soldiers historians believe that the majority of the persons identified in the Venona decrypts were either covert agents or contacts of Soviet intelligence officers, others believe that many of those people had no ill intents and committed no crimes. The discovery. The Venona project was launched on February 1, 1943 by Jean Graville, an American mathematician and cryptanalyst, on orders from Colonel Carter W. Clark, the military intelligence services chief of special branch at that time. Clark worried that the Soviet Union would sign a separate peace treaty with Nazi Germany, allowing Germany to concentrate its armed might on the United Kingdom and the United States. Cryptanalysts from the United States Army Signal Intelligence Service at Arlington Hall processed encrypted high-level Soviet diplomatic intelligence signals collected in enormous volumes by American, British, and Australian listening sites during and soon after the World War II. Encryption and decryption. Hundreds of cryptanalysts kept and studied this communication traffic, which was encrypted with one-time pads method. In relative secrecy, during a 40-year period beginning in the early 1940s, the one-time pad encryption method, which has been used for all top-secret military and diplomatic communications since 1930s, is impenetrable when used correctly. However, some of these communications was exposed to cryptanalysis due to a severe error on the side of the Soviets, as a consequence of the pressure brought on by the German march on Moscow during World War II. The Soviet business that created the one-time pads generated around 35,000 pages of duplicate key numbers. The duplication that compromises the security of a one-time system was found and attempts were made to mitigate its impact by delivering the copies to users who were geographically distant. Despite these, cryptanalysts in the United States identified the reputation. Result. Thousands of cables were sent, according to the NSA, but only a handful of them were available to cryptanalysts. Almost 2,200 messages were decrypted and translated Approximately half of the 1943 GRU naval Washington to Moscow messages were cracked by none from any other year, despite the fact that thousands were delivered between 1941 to 1945. In 1942, 1.8% decryption rate. 1943, 15% decryption rate. In 1944, it was 49% decryption rate, and in 1945, it was 1.5%. It is reported that it's just 3,000 of the hundreds of thousands of intercepted and encrypted texts have been partially or completely decoded. Texas textbook controversy. The, the Texas State Board of Education revised its high school history class curriculum in 2009 to urge the Venona demonstrates. Senator Joseph McCarthy was justified in his enthusiasm in exposing people he considered to be Soviet spies or communist sympathizers. Critics such as Emory University history professor Harvey Clare claims that most of the people and organizations identified by McCarthy, such as those mentioned in the Army McCarthy hearings or rival politicians in the Democratic Party, were not mentioned in the Venona content, that his accusations were largely unsupported by evidence bearing on Venona bringing on Venona in particular cases. 19. The identity of the Soviet source cryptonym 19 is unknown. According to British journalist Nigel West, 19 was president of the Czechoslovak government in exile. Edward Bean, military historian Edward Musk, as well as American historian Herbert Romerstein and Eric Brendel decided it was that Roosevelt's advisor Harry Hopkins. According to American writers John Earl Haynes and Harvey Clare, 19 might be member of the British delegation of Washington Conference in May 1943. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. Venona has added significant information to this case of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, demonstrating that Julius was guilty of espionage and the Ethel, while not acting as a principal, was still an accessory who participated in Julius' espionage activity and played a role in the recruitment of her brother for atomic espionage. Klaus Fudge. The Venona decryptions were also crucial in exposing the atomic spy Klaus Fudge. Some of the first decoded letters contained information from the scientists and the Manhattan Project, known by the code names Charles and the rest. On April 10, 1945, a telegram from Moscow to New York described intelligence supplied by Charles as of considerable significance. The communication sought further technical details from Charles, nothing that the information contained data on the atomic mass of the nuclear explosion and details on the explosive mechanism of actuation, the atomic weapon. In 1949, investigations based on the Venona decryption led the identification of Charles and rest as Fudge. So this is it from me. Thank you.